Academic Affairs, Ibu Dr. Rita Indrawati, the Honorable Coordinator of Doctoral Education, Sriwijaya University, Professor Dr. Mulyadi Eko Purnomo MPD, the Honorable Coordinator of Master Language, Magister Language of Sriwijaya University, Ibu Dr. Sari Silviani, PhD, and then also the excellencies of our speakers, Prof. Kathy Sitrandal, PhD, who is already coming here this morning, very beautiful, and also our great lecturers and also friends of Sriwijaya Universities coming for our Studium General publication at Reputable journals. To open this great moment, I would like to say Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. And first of all, before we start, we are going to have our friends to lead singing Indonesia Raya, our national anthem, Miss Aprilia Rahayu. Please take a seat. And also for all the persons here, we'd like to stand up. Please be seated. Okay, the next agenda, we'd like to have Dean of our FKIP Sriwijaya University to have a speech for Dr. Hartono MA. Time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Good morning everyone. Special for Professor Dr. Kathy Trandal from Utah State University. I'm appreciate for coming to Sriwijaya University again. She has been 4 times coming to Sriwijaya University. Is proud for me to you. My Honorable Vice Dean, Coordinator of Study Programs, Senior Lecturer, Professor Nur Hayati, and other lecturer may be coming, and my Prof. Sri Sumarni, thank you for coming, and all of the beloved my student, PhD program, postgraduate program in education, in mathematics, and in Master of Language program. First of all, I would like to thank you very much to Prof. Katie Trundle. She is my advisor when I was a PhD program in Columbus University, in Ohio State University, Columbus, and until now, she is my advisor to support me, to support our faculty teacher training education to be international activities. It's like activities today. This the important event during this week. This is a big week because a lot the international activity in our Faculty of Teacher Training and Education this week. This very important to know how to publication at the reputable journal. This as a new student, you PhD program in education is the first semester. I have informed to Professor Katie that we will opening the PhD program in education maybe last week, last year, and right now we have established a successful PhD program in education, and she support the PhD education is opening this international activity, and we support this PhD in education with a journal that we designed to international journal that we will launch the journal at the opening international conference next Friday, next Thursday, and Professor Katie support the journal as the chief in editor-in-chief in the journal. We call Sriwijaya University Learning Education International Journal, Sule IJ. Yeah. Of course, this the beginning the activity to know how to publish at the reputable journal. Professor Katie is expert to publish article at the reputable journal, and I feel I feel the process, the activity until now, because almost every month we meet online with the Katie Trundle, yeah, PhD. So I enjoy the process. It's not easy, but as long as you work hard and focus on the activity, I believe you can to publish at the reputable journal. Yeah. This the essence is very important as the PhD program to publish at the reputable journal. So until the beginning, keep in mind how to publish at the reputable journal. Yeah, from the beginning. Yeah. So I think it's a very important activity. Yeah, to give the perspective, yeah, how to publish the reputable journal. Again, thank you very much to Professor Katie Trundle, PhD. I hope you are well and enjoying love in Palembang city with the culture, with the food, and also with my love student here. Thank you very much. I open officially this activity with basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for our Dean, Mr. Hartono. And then next we are going to have Mr. Professor Dr. Mulyadi Eko Purnomo to have a speech for our Stadium General. Okay, thank you. And then before we have the next agenda, we are going to have kindly Ibu Rita to wear Gandhi for our beautiful Katie. For Prof. Katie and also Ibu Rita, please stand up. Yeah, to wear special beautiful accessories for Palembangese ladies. We are going to have it.
So Kathy, I'm so sorry that I have to wear this one into your hand. Are you okay? Yeah. Okay, you can take it.
Okay, very beautiful, Prof. Katie Trandel. And please take photographs for. Yeah. Okay, for the lecturers of Sriwijaya University, please take a place to take photographs with our beautiful net speakers today. Agak guys atau map ke sana. Ini miring ya?
Miring-miring, anunya miring. Jadinya miring-miring.
Bersiap-siap setelah ini untuk mahasiswa program S3 Pendidikan dan S3 Matematika ya untuk berfoto bersama di depan. Kemudian nanti akan diikuti dengan mahasiswa S2 untuk berfoto. Freestyle. Oke, untuk mahasiswa S3, mahasiswa S3 Unsri, silakan kita berdiri untuk ya bersama dosen-dosen. Aduh, ayo Bu, tetap Bu. Pakai oh ya kursi yang ini aja di depan.
Mahasiswanya bisa.
Oh kita duduk di belakang. Di situ.
Oh gitu.
Di belakang. Kami di sini boleh. Dosen-dosen di belakang untuk mahasiswa di setengah pakai dengkul gitu ya di depan atau gimana? Oh ya, oke. Oh ya sedikit ya 14 ya. Yang S2 mana? Oh, Ibu Sari sama Pak Sari di sini. Berarti di sini aja Bu. Berdua ya? Berdua. Ibu Prof Nur sama Prof Sri di sini berdua. Oh, di sisi sana. Sama Ibu Sari kan Pak Sari. Ibu di sini Bu. Ibu juga di depan. Ibu. Atau Ibu mau di tengah sama Reni? Ada pakai baju. Cek tengah, ada pakai alma mater. Oh gini. Oh iya iya. Yang di belakang berdiri.
Smile. Gaya bebas. Free. Kayak apa? Kayak semuanya. Ya.
Oke, untuk dari mahasiswa S2, silakan Ibu berfoto Bu. Dosen-dosennya tetap di sini untuk untuk mahasiswa S2 silakan mengambil tempat segera. Ada HP untuk adik. Harusnya iya pakai ini iya. Ulang kayaknya Mbak yang bentar itu apa-apaan itu? Oh, kita tarik. Cheers. Oh, ada literasi ya. Oh ya, with handphone. Okay, please be seated. And then we are, please be seated. And then for the next agenda, we are going to have a pray, which is going to be led by Mr. Effendi. For Mr. Effendi, please take a seat and then lead for the prayers.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Sebelum mulai acara kuliah umum pada hari ini, marilah kita sejenak bersama-sama menundukkan kepala, bermunajat kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Semoga acara kita hari ini dirahmati Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Dan bagi saudara-saudara yang selain agama Islam, silahkan menyelesaikan sesuai dengan keyakinan masing-masing. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Hamdas syakirin, hamdan na'imin, hamdan FKIP mazhidah. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami bersyukur atas segala nikmat yang Engkau berikan kepada kami. Nikmat iman, nikmat kesehatan, serta nikmat waktu sehingga kami masih memiliki kesempatan untuk terus belajar. Ya Allah, ya Rabbana, jadikanlah kegiatan ini sebagai majelis ilmu yang bermanfaat guna menambah wawasan keilmuan kami yang membuahkan hasil bermanfaat bagi kemaslahatan. Ya Allah, berilah kami kekayaan ilmu pengetahuan, hiasilah kami dengan kelapangan hati, muliakanlah kami dengan takwa, dan berilah kami kesehatan. Ya Allah, ya Rahman, ya Rahim, Engkaulah yang maha pengasih dan maha penyayang. Sayangilah orang tua kami, guru-guru kami, dan para pemimpin kami yang adil. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan yang maha bijaksana, Kami berharap agar acara kuliah umum ini sukses dan penuh dengan makna. Buatlah suasana yang kondusif dalam kegiatan dan berikan pemahaman yang mendalam kepada seluruh peserta ini. Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'an wa rizqan thayyiban wa amalan mutaqabbalan. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Pak Effendi. Okay, and then the next agenda, we are going to have our beloved Prof. Kathy Sitrandal, PhD, to have our Studium General for publication at reputable journals. And then for the moderator, I would like to hand in to Mr. Hariswan as the moderator of our next agenda. And then thank you for the Dean, also coordinator of doctoral program, also Magister Language. And then also for all the friends and also for the students of Sriwijaya University, please, we will follow the lectures from Prof. Kathy, and then you can ask any questions or any interest about publication at reputable journals to our beloved Prof. Kathy Sitrandal, PhD.
So is it time for me? Oh. Now tell me. Hello, thank you for the lovely welcome. I am delighted to be here with you. Salamat pagi. And Tara Makasi for the invitation to be here with you. So as Pak Hartono said, this is my 4th visit to your beautiful university and your beautiful city and island. I have worked in Indonesia since 2012, and this is my 7th visit to Indonesia. I worked on Java for my first 2 visits, and I worked at UNES University. And then I also have been a guest speaker and lecturer at Ganesha in Sriwijaya in Bali. But I'm very delighted to be here with you. And I also have visited, I forgot, Kalimantan for a conference. So I love coming back and I love working with you. So I came in here and I came directly to your class. I need to send my PowerPoint to him and then we'll begin. Okay? Right. We'll start in a minute. So thank you for. Let me hang on one second. I need to stop sharing. Turn down the volume. Okay, now. Screen share. Map. Okay. There. All right, now we'll start. Thank you for your patience. So that was a great idea with Zoom. We have so many opportunities with Zoom, but to be able to share my slides with you. But as Pa Cartono said, I am a professor at Utah State University, and I met Pa Cartono in Columbus, Ohio, when I was a professor at Ohio State University. And I went from assistant to full professor at Ohio State, and then I was a department head at North Carolina State and a department head at Utah State, and now I'm a professor. I'm back on faculty there. So I'm sharing with you my experiences in terms of a scholar at Ohio State, North Carolina State, and Utah State, so publishing myself, and then also as a mentor to my students. So I worked with doctoral students at all the universities, and all my doctoral students that I advised have published. They published from their dissertation research. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm happy to talk to you today and share my experiences. I have been an associate editor of a journal, and as Pa Cartono said, on Thursday, I will be the chief editor of the journal here at your university, and I'm happy to do that. So here's our agenda for today, and also if you have questions as we go, I want you to raise your hand and let me know so we can stop and answer questions. So I want it to be more of a conversation. So on our agenda, first we want to look at how do you identify a reputable journal? So the topic is publishing in a reputable journal, and the question is, how do you know it's reputable? And then how do you identify the best fit for your article? Because not every article can go into any journal that you choose. So you want to pick the one that's the best fit for the research that you're doing. And then you want to locate a model that has been published in that journal. So identifying your target journal, and then locating at least one paper that is a model that you would use to follow the guidelines in that paper. So to see what they're looking for. And then you look at editing and editing and editing. That means you're self-editing. I am not a good editor of my own work because as I read it as I intended to write it. I don't read it as it actually is written. So I miss typos, I miss missing words, I miss double words. So it's helpful to have someone who has published to help you edit your paper. And then what are some reasons for rejection? And these are things that you want to avoid so that you can get your paper published. And then evaluating for duplication. It's important that, very, very important, that you avoid plagiarism. And it would be unintentional, I'm sure, but if you plagiarize, if you have too much duplication in your paper, then that paper will be rejected, and sometimes you will be barred from publishing in that journal for up to 5 to 10 years. So that can have an impact on your career. So you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing and avoiding plagiarism. And then I'll give you some information about the review process. So the question is, how do we identify reputable journals? So the place that I would ask you to look is SJR, and you can look that up on your phone, and I'm going to take you out to see that website. But here's the website. And I learned about this. Pa Cartono and I worked with students from Turkey also. So students from Indonesia and then students from Turkey. My Turkish students taught me about I knew that I needed to publish in my top journals. They taught me about how to think more broadly about journals. I know my top journals in my field. Sometimes you need to look at journals that are not directly in your field but would be interested in your topic. And they're very aware of the ranking of the journal that they're publishing in, because the Turkish government gives points for each. You have to earn points to get a position as a professor. You start as an instructor, you earn points, and you do that through publishing to become an assistant professor. Then you have to earn points to become an associate, and earning more points to become a full professor. The Turkish government assigns a number of points based on your authorship, if you're first, second, third author, and then also on the ranking of the journal. They, in addition to the points that they earn toward their ranking and toward their promotion and tenure, they also earn cash. The Turkish government pays money based on how high ranked that journal is, and the amount depends on the ranking of the journal and also on the order of authorship. So they taught me about ways to look for other journals that you might not think about. So when you come to this website, and I will be sharing this with your professor in terms of, he can share with your professor for the class, he can share the PDFs with you, and you'll have all of my slides and my notes, and you can click on the link in there, but you also have it here to see. So the way to do this is you go up to the top on that site right here, and you can see the words that I have searched for in here. The Journal of Research in Science Teaching is the top journal in my field. It's a research journal for science teaching. So when I click on that and I search, it comes up here, and I can see that it's published in the United States and that Wiley & Sons are the publisher. That doesn't tell me a lot in terms of reputability. Wiley & Sons is a good publisher, but we don't know how this journal ranks. So I click on the journal title, and when I scroll down, I can see that the H index is 157. So can someone write that down for me so we can remember it? JRST is 157. Oh, I'll pull up another one, then I can flip back and forth. It tells you about the journal, and then you can see the green on here tells you that it is a top quarterly, it's a Q1 journal. So it is a top journal, so the green means top, yellow means second, and red means third. If it's not in the top 3 tiers, then it's not in this ranking system. So journals that are not ranked, that are not top tier, second tier, or third tier, the quartiles, then they are not in this database. And you can see that it's in the top 85% for science education, for research in science education, and then when it's comparing to other journals. Those are other journals. This is comparing JARS, my top journal, to other science education journals in my field. Science education is another journal, research in science education. Journal of Science Teacher Education, and the International Journal of Science Education. And then I can look here to see citable documents and then uncited documents. So these are, the green tells you that most of those journal articles are cited. That means other researchers found that research important and interesting enough to cite it. And as you notice over time from 1999, which is when I got my PhD, so my PhD is here. My first publication in JARST is here. So you can see the majority of them are published, they're cited by other researchers. And as you go over time, a bigger percentage of them are cited. So that means that the journal is getting better at accepting articles that people will be interested in and that they will want to cite. So that's a good trend. So if it went the other way to where it previously had less read and then it got more read, that means they're getting worse in terms of articles being cited. But this is a good trend. The red's going down and the green's going up. And then we can see here that it is a Q1 journal and it has a 1.91 impact factor. So anything 1 and above is good, and that is excellent for science education. Now, other fields will have very high numbers like 125. That's not true for education journals. So let's look at another one. Another journal. So I'll pull up another. That way I can have the JARST one there. And let's compare it to research in science education and see how that compares. Those are two of the top journals in my field. So here's research in science education, and you see the H-index is 67, and the H-index for JARST is 157. So the higher the H-index, and that's looking at citations. So the H-index looks at the number of citations per published article. So it's 67 for research in science education, which is good, but it's better for JARST, the Journal of Research in Science Teaching. So JARST they're both reputable. We'll see how they're both reputable, but JARST is a higher ranked journal. But as you scroll down on research in science education, here's where I told you it started out as a second quartile. It went up to first quartile. It dropped back to second quartile. It went back up to first. It dropped down to second. And in 2009, they figured out how to improve the journal, and it's been consistently a first quartile. So a Q1 is the type of journal you want to publish in. So a Q1 would be your first choice for reputable. A Q2 would be your second. So you want to try to shoot for Q1 journals. And if you can't get it in a Q1, a Q2. Not all articles can go into, they publish maybe 75 articles for the whole world in 1 year. So only 75 articles from all the science education researchers can get in that one journal. So they can't all go there. So some of them have to go into Q1 journals that are not the top ranked. But a Q1 journal is a Q1 journal. And then when we look down here, if you look right here, you remember with JARST? Let's look at JARST. Back when I graduated with my PhD, this is JARST, and you see the green here? These are cited documents, and these are uncited. So the majority of the articles when I graduated with my PhD, the majority of the JARS articles were cited. And more of them became, a higher percentage became cited over time up till last year. When you look at research in science teaching, number one, JARS published more articles that were cited than RISE, but also the majority of the RISE articles were not cited. But if you look over time, the number of articles has gone up and the percentage of citations have gone up also. So that's a very good trend. So it's a good journal and it is a reputable journal. Let's see if we can compare to another one. Pacartono, tell me a journal that, what is the math education journal here? Journal of Mathematics Education. I'm typing with one hand, so this is why I need someone to help me edit. Journal of Mathematics Education. That's research in mathematics education. Journal of Mathematics. Oh, here it is. Is it Journal on? Here it is. Here it is right here. That's your university, Journal on Mathematics Education, Indonesia, and that's your university. So let's see how this journal ranks. So the H index is 28, and compared to this one, it's lower, but let's look at how it ranks. Oops. So it's an H index of 28. And it is a Q2 journal. But also, look, I want you to look at this one. It's only been out since 2019. So the other journals have been out much longer. It started out as a Q2. So that's very good for a newer journal. And it's maintained a Q2, and we'll look at how it's trending. Look at the trend. So this journal is trending toward being a Q1 because look at the number of articles have gone up and look at the percentage. Starting out, when it started out, the majority were not cited, just like with research in science education. So this is a similar trend. With mathematics education, it started out with the majority were not cited, just like research in science education. That's very common for new journals because they have to get their feet on the ground. People have to learn about them. The word has to get out. And also time has to pass for people to be able to cite them. Over time, you get more citations. But look what's happened over time, especially with last year. So the percentage has dramatically increased. That's a huge increase, and that's an excellent trend. And look at the journal right here of mathematics education. That's an excellent trend. And it's actually a much higher trend than research in science education. That's for mathematics education. Journal on Mathematics Education, your journal. So that is an excellent trend. And it is a Q2 with a trending toward Q1. So that's the kind of data you would want to see. So those are the things you look for. You look for, is it a Q1 or Q2? So you're shooting for Q1 or Q2. And you're looking for this trend right here, that over time, you have a bigger percentage being cited. You want to see over time that that trend is going up. You have more citations, you have more journal articles, and you have a higher percentage that are cited. So any questions on how to use this site? Would you like to look up another journal?
Ada pertanyaan Bapak Ibu terkait bagaimana membaca skemagu? Clear ya? Gak ada kendala. Okay. No problem, no questions.
No? Okay.
So the citation in that journal should be from also Scopus Index Journal, or is it any journal?
It really is, it's any citation. It's any citation. And here's another thing. There are two different indices. One is citations that are from other journals. So you want other people in other journals citing your article in Journal on Mathematics Education here. They look at how many articles within that journal cite within the journal. That helps, but they also care about our other people citing. So this has happened to me in very excellent journals. They will ask me to go back after I submit an article. They ask me to go back and add citations to articles within the journal I'm going to be publishing in, because that helps their journal. If I'm citing articles in their journal, that increases their citation rate. So it is a game, and it is a human construction. So, and the publishers know this. So you want to think about that as you're writing your article before you submit it. You want to choose, and you want to use this website to help you choose a reputable journal. Once you choose it, you want to go back and make sure you're citing articles in the one you're submitting. You've cited articles within that own journal, so they know that you've read it, and also they're looking for that. If you don't do it, they're going to ask you to do it. But they like seeing that. And you want, when the editor's looking at it, you want them to have a good feeling about your article. Ibu Rita, do you want to tell me a journal? A journal for language. And
So, Kathy,
yes. Studies in English Education, is that correct?
yeah, no, JLE, Journal of English Education. We cannot find in Semago because it is
This one.
still unreputable.
And this one's in
Okay.
Indonesia.
The other one in Indonesia, studies
Yep.
in CLE.
let's
You just
look.
type CLE.
Let's look here. This is an excellent trend.
Yeah. Okay, it is CLE Q1.
It's a good trend.
That's right.
And this is interesting here also. Look at this trend. So it has stayed as a Q3 in education, but it started out as a Q2 in linguistics and language. And it started out as a Q1 in literature and literary theory. And the linguistics and language, it went from Q2 to Q1. And these have gone up and stayed at Q1.
Yeah.
So for these two areas, it's a Q1 journal. For education, it's a Q3. But this is a very good trend. And let's go down and look at the greens. Look at this. This is a huge change.
Yeah.
And it's from 2019. That's recent. That's very, very recent journal. That's a lot of change in a little bit of time. So that's an excellent trend. So you see how it starts out with very few articles, and they're not cited, and then it's mostly read, and some green, and then it changes to where it's mostly green. So the majority of the articles are being cited. That's why it went from a Q2 to a Q1, and I would predict that with this trend continuing, in education it will go to a Q2 and then a Q1. So you want to look at the trends also.
Okay.
So that gives you a couple of, that gives you examples of 4 different journals. Any questions?
Yeah. Yeah, so Kathy, for
Yes.
that information, our master degree program students had submitted some articles there,
Yes.
and it also quoted the names of the advisors, something like Pak Soni's Professor Mirizan's students, my student, Ibu Sari's students. And we also tried, as a lecturer, we tried to also publish there, and then 2 of our publication there, yeah, it is submitted now, and not submitted, but it is published now.
Oh, that's excellent. That's,
Yeah,
and
thank you, Kathy.
we need to do a round of applause for that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kathy.
And that's, congratulations. And congratulations to the students. It is very important to be working with someone, especially an advisor who will do that with you. And we'll come back and, well, while we're on that topic, because this, I've had students think about this before. I work, in working with my students, I have them publish also. And I had Laura Wheeler came with me last year and was here and spoke to you also. She was not my student, but I worked with her to publish. And every student that I've worked with like that has published. So and it's not rocket science. That's the other thing. As you've seen, it's about figuring out the system. So if you are methodical and you follow, it really is prescriptive. It really is formulaic. You're patient, you pay attention to details, and you can follow patterns, you can get it published. You have to do good work to begin with, but figuring out how to get it published is not rocket science. So Laura, working with Laura, we published, I think we've had 5 things published. And with that, she got her dream job. She has a job with Brigham Young University, and I was telling Pak Hartono, she makes more money than many full professors as a starting professor. It was $1 billion, wasn't it? I mean, 1 billion rupiah. Indonesian rupiah. And that's for 1 year with her work. That was the job she wanted. They hired her because she had those publications. And the reason I got up is I want to tell you how important that is, the time that your professors are spending with you. Because, now I had students at Ohio State, so students don't know how to publish. I didn't know how to publish. My mentor sat with me and worked with me, and it took him longer. It took him longer to work with me to publish something with me than it would have been for him to do it by himself, because he had published. So teaching me and publishing with me took longer and was more work. So some students think, oh, you're trying to take my work. In other words, me as a student, if I've had some students at Ohio State think, oh, Dr. Trundle is trying to take my work. She wants to publish with me because she needs me to do her work. I don't need the students to do my work because I've published a whole bunch without them. So my point is that the work that they're spending with you, the time they're spending with you is so invaluable. It is so important, and it's very important that you be thankful and grateful and express gratitude to them because it is a wonderful gift they're giving you. And it is more work for each of your instructors to publish with you than to do it on their own. But they're doing that as a labor of love because they want to help you and they want to teach you. And I'm telling you, the only way you can learn it is by working with someone. Well, you can learn it on your own, but it's harder and it takes a lot longer and you are less likely to be successful. When you sit down with a mentor and you listen to what they're telling you and you follow their directions, you learn the process. And it seems scary to begin with, but it really is just figuring out patterns, and you're good at pattern recognitions. You're doctoral students and master's students. You like patterns, so it's pattern recognition. But I am so proud of you. I'm proud of you as students, and I'm very proud of your instructors for working with you on that. Okay, questions on reputable journals?
Ada pertanyaan? Ya, Pak Diskoni, silakan, Pak.
English. Okay, you, Prof. Katie. After listening and the many trends. Okay.
And when someone's asking a question, if you can listen so I can hear. If you're talking, I can't hear. Thank you.
Okay. After listening and looking the many trends and at the screens.
Yes.
What should I do to choose the reputable journal? Because there are many the cited and uncited document. Because we are as the first doctoral program.
Yes. Yes.
As a patient of knowledge is ethnopedagogy.
Yes. Okay, so the question is, how do you know what journals to choose?
Yes. What should we do?
What do you do? So my advice is talk to your advisor because you're all in different fields, right?
Yeah.
So you need, for example, I know science education. Ibu Rita knows literacy and language. So you need to talk to someone in your field to figure out what journals would be a best fit. So then you start looking, when they ask them to give you a list of journals that you might consider, and then you take that list, you go to this website, and you look at the data. Also, you need to read what they're looking for. You need to look, and we're gonna follow through with that in a minute. We'll talk about how to know it's right.
So we should choose the cited documents.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You need to find something that's related to your topic. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question. And also, I wanted to say your English is excellent, and I am deeply grateful. I am deeply grateful that you speak to me in English because I don't speak your beautiful language. So I am very limited. You are more skillful. You're bilingual, and I'm monolingual. So it's a limitation for me. So I'm grateful to you. Thank you. Okay, so H-index, because we looked at H-index. So what does the H-index mean? To calculate H-index, it means the number of papers that have been published in that journal that have been cited at least H times. So for this one, it's been cited 120 times. 120 articles. So they're published, if if they published 20 papers, here's the example, that have been cited at least 20 times, it has an H index of 20. So for 20 years of index, an H index of 20 is good, a 40 is outstanding. So this one is the number of papers that are published at least 121 times. They have 121 papers that have been published at least 121 times. So that's a lot. So the higher that number, the better. But again, older journals should have higher numbers because they've been around longer and the articles have been around longer. And then at the very bottom, the 60 would be truly exceptional. But a 20 is good, the 40 would be outstanding, and then 60 would be exceptional. Oh. I don't. Okay. There's some kind of delay here. So let's go back and try again. Okay, let's see if it's going to work. There. Now we're moving again. Okay, so when we look at these are journals. This is a list of journals, and we look at the H indexes right there. When it has, look at the research synthesis methods. So what does an H index of 51 mean? Who can tell me what that means? How many articles? If the H index is 51, how many articles did that journal have that refers to? 51. So it's this one right here. This one. That means 51 articles that have been cited at least 51 times. Computers in education. And that's one because of Sedat Uçar, Dr. Sedat Uçar in Turkey. Pak Hartono knew him in Columbus. They were doctoral students together. He's the one who talked to me about computers in education. We had a science education research study that used simulations on a computer. So he suggested that we go to this journal. And look, it has an H index of 215. That means they have 215 articles that have at least 215 citations. And educational research review. All of these are very top journals. These are the top journals for education. Computers in education has the highest H index of all of those. But it's ranked number 4. So you can pull up and see what are the top journals for your field. Okay, and then we talked about how this is a good trend, that it's green. They had 2003, it was yellow, but it's been green ever since. And then we already talked about, we pulled up the website and looked at this, looking for that trend in the bottom right-hand corner, where in the bottom right-hand corner there, where the green is going up and the red is going down. And you have, over time, you have more green than red. That's a good trend. Okay, so the question is about how do you find a best fit? And this is what you were asking. How do you pick the journal? So here's the formula for picking the journal. So first you have to read, assess, decide, and consider. Those are the three things you do. So you go to the journal and you read articles that are published in the journal recently. Don't go back to 1999 because they've got different editors and different reviewers now. Look at 2024, 2023, 2022. Because you want to look to make sure you're looking at the same editors and reviewers. So read what types of, and these are the questions to ask yourself. And I will send these notes to you with your professor. So you'll have this. You can pull this up and read the articles. What type of articles are they publishing? What components? Look at the headings. What are the headings? What are they requiring? Some journals require that you put the theoretical framework. Some don't include theoretical framework. And also it gives you an indication of about how much text they put in each one of those sections. How much do they want to know about the methodology? Is it 2 pages long or is it a paragraph? So those are the kinds of things you're looking for. What are the headings? And then how long are those sections? So what are they looking for? What do they include and what do they omit? And then how much information do they want to know? If it's a very long, if they want a whole page on theoretical framework, you've got to include theoretical framework. You can't just mention it. You have to describe it. And then who is the audience? Who's going to be reading that? For example, I work in science teacher education. Most of my research is with pre-service teachers. So I'm usually publishing in journals that publish about teaching science teachers. But I also do research. I'm doing research right now on garden-based learning, so I'm going to look at environmental education journals. And I don't know those as well. I know the science ed journals, so I have to do these same things. And then assess. So assessing is you're looking for alignment. So you want to look here and look at a journal article that you're citing. If you're citing the article, go look at their references and see where they published. So look at your own citations. Where do the people that you're citing, where did they publish? So that gives you an indication of where you might start for alignment. Okay, when you're assessing, you want to look at the mission of the journal and the contribution. So what is their target audience? Why are they publishing? What kind of research are they looking for? So you want to understand the journal. You're assessing the journal. And then you want to decide if it's aligned. Does your article fit with what they're publishing? So if I'm doing research on, for example, if I'm doing research on, I've done some with first and second graders on their understanding of lunar concepts on astronomy by sight. I couldn't publish that in the Journal of Science Teacher Education because it's not about teaching science teachers. It's about teaching little kids. So I can't publish it easily in the International Journal of Science Education because all those children were in Columbus, Ohio. So I've got to look at, does it fit? An international journal is not interested. They're interested from Indonesia, but they're not interested so much in the U.S. because a lot of those journals are published in the U.S. So unless I include, I've got a study right now with Pak Hartono and Ibu Rita on climate change, and it's with pre-service teachers, and that study could go in the journal with science teacher education. It could go in the international journal because it includes pre-service teachers in the U.S., Indonesia, and Turkey. If I only published about pre-service teachers in the U.S., that's going to be a harder sell. I have to explain how it adds to an international conversation. And then why this journal and what are the odds of publishing? So ask yourself, why is this journal a good fit? With computers and education, Sadat and I published there because they're interested in computer simulations. And here's another one. Not only are they interested in computers and computer simulations, they didn't have much published on science education. So they were very interested because they hadn't published much in my field. So when I sent it to them, it was a novelty. So you're looking for the butterflies. Butterflies are beautiful, unusual insects. So what is the appeal? What makes it interesting? You need a butterfly. If you have an earthworm, well, they're not insects. If you have a cockroach, that's an insect. Those are not as interesting to be published. So you're going to have to find a journal where it is interesting. So you have to find the butterfly for a particular journal. What makes it unique? I do work with little children. So the Early Childhood Research Quarterly doesn't publish much on science education for little children. They're interested. When I do a study, I send it to them because they're interested on science for little children. So you want to figure out what are the odds of publishing. Odds of publishing, you want to look at the acceptance rate. Many of these have an acceptance rate of 10%. So for every 100 journals, 90 of them will be rejected. You want a reputable journal. You want it to have a good ranking. That means they're going to have a high rejection rate. But you want to increase your odds of getting published by sending them a butterfly. Find a journal where what you're doing is unique and special. Where does somebody see it as special? It's the same research. One journal will see it as a cockroach, and they're not going to publish it. Another journal will see it as a butterfly, and they do want to publish it. It's unusual for them. So where is it good and unusual? Questions on best fit. You will have these questions when you get the PDF. We'll send that out today. Okay, the top reasons for rejection. So these are the things you want to avoid. So here's the list of what you don't want to do because you want to avoid rejection. So number one, this is back to your excellent question, is about how do you decide if it's aligned? The reason, right off the bat, they're not going to even send it to reviewers if it's not aligned. So if I send them a study about first and second grade teachers and they only publish about pre-service teachers, it's not aligned and they won't even send it out. If it fails to advance the discourse, what that means is you're not saying anything new. You don't have, what you're saying has already been published, it's already done, so they're not interested. Okay, it doesn't match the readership. So you've got to think about who's going to be reading this article. And then if it's outside the journal's boundaries, if it's too dated, it's too novel. We had one sent back to us because they couldn't find reviewers for it. Because there was none of their reviewers had expertise in that area. So it was outside their boundaries. They didn't have reviewers. And then the claims are not supported. That means that you haven't justified your findings. So in other words, you're saying something that you're not backing up with data. So you're making claims, but you don't have data to support that. And then the research questions are unclear. And then the last one is a lack of knowledgeable reviewers that I mentioned earlier. Sometimes, like on Outside the Journal's Boundary, it's too novel. With the too novel part of it, sometimes you're doing with Mesut Saçkas, he took every statistics class at Ohio State. Sometimes they're unfamiliar with the methodology. So the methodology is too novel. Questions about reasons for rejection? Yes. Sorry.
I have an interesting experience with this.
Can you?
Just want to share my experience. I think it's interesting when I looked at your list. So I sent a manuscript to a TESOL journal, actually. It's
Yes.
a high ranked since last year. And I got no rejection or anything. So I emailed them and I said, what's going on with my article? Because it's been a long time. And their response is that we're looking for appropriate reviewers, because I was talking about climate change in English language teaching, which
Yes.
is maybe not so many at this
Yes.
time. But I've been waiting for a long time, and the reasons are for reviewers. So I hate to withdraw that because I don't think that's good. But then it really, it's been a long time. I don't know, if I get rejection, that's fine, then I can improve it and go to a different journal. But when it's on that process that I don't know how long it will take, what do you think about this, Kathy?
That's an excellent point. You might go back to them and say, it's been with you a certain amount of time. I really value this journal. I'm very interested in publishing with you. But can you give me an indication? Are you looking for journals? Are you likely to find them? Reviewers. Are you looking for reviewers? Or are you not likely to find any? Do I need to send it elsewhere? You could ask them that.
Thank you. I think,
Yeah.
I'll consider doing that because, it's been a long time.
Yeah, you might think about other journals that may be interested in TESOL, like like an environmental journal that's interested with TESOL teachers. So here's what Ibu Sari is saying. Think about, what is your article about? Hers is about climate change and TESOL teachers, right? Okay, so she could go with TESOL teachers, which is what she did, but they don't have reviewers because they're lack of knowledgeable. That's the last bullet. So she could send it to a place that would be interested in climate change, and they don't have much published about TESOL. So a journal, it's a butterfly. Hers is a butterfly because there's not much published on that. So it would be a butterfly for the TESOL journal, but the problem is lack of knowledgeable reviewers. So another option is to send it to an environmental journal where they don't have, it would be a butterfly because of the TESOL teachers. So it's a butterfly in two different ways. Does that make sense? It's unique and special in different ways to different journals. Excellent point. Thank you. Other questions?
Oke, silakan.
Kathy,
Oh,
I have a question.
yes.
Please back to other. Yes, lack
Yes.
of the knowledgeable reviewers.
Yes.
It means that the article is lack of the theoretical framework. I think theoretical framework is very important to construct our article. Yet,
Yes.
do you mean like that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So in terms of if the journal wants your theoretical framework, it's important to identify your theoretical framework up front, because that should influence your questions. It should influence the way you analyze the data. It should influence your lit review. It should influence the way you talk about your results. So you can talk about it in terms of your theoretical framework. Yes. Good question.
Thank you. One more.
Yes.
About the previous slide, about
Okay.
the citation.
Okay.
You said about this citation, because citation is very important for our student, because the next 2 years we will got the accreditation
Yes.
next 2 years. So maybe there is a trick how to promote our student citation.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we have to put our article at the certain website, maybe, so
Yes.
our article can everyone know about the article, and they want to citation our
Yes.
article.
Yes, and
They have
a
trick.
good, yeah, so the question, this excellent question. So you need your article to get cited. Oh, this happens with me for Ohio State, and from every time I was promoted, when I was promoted and tenured, when I was promoted to full professor, they look at the numbers of citations. So a way to increase visibility is to make sure you're publishing in a reputable journal. The other thing is to make sure you're doing things on social media and in the professional context with LinkedIn. If you do LinkedIn and then also ResearchGate. Do you do ResearchGate? Yeah. Okay. Do ResearchGate and then put your information on there, update. So that helps people. People go in there and search. Also, it would help if you have something on your college website and you say recent publications and you do a highlight, and maybe you publish the abstract, or you publish a summary about it, a short summary, and you provide a link to it. Yeah. So you do the citation, you do a short little abstract. You can't copy and paste from the article, but you could do a summary of it and maybe a picture of the person, the student who published it. So it's a way to promote it. The more times you can put it to where Google, when there's a Google search, then that will also help pick it up. Another thing that will help with citations is be careful how you do your titles and your keywords. When people do searches, you want them to find your article. The keywords are important and the title is important. And the more times you have it on places on websites, the more likely people will be able to find it. Does that help, Pak Hartono? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Yes. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, so the review process, and we're almost finished, and then we'll take questions. The lead editor determines the alignment. They look at content area. This one is really important because you submit your article and the first person who looks at it is the editor. They will not even send it out to a reviewer. You have to get past the editor first. So they're going to look at content area. They're going to look at theoretical grounding and is it empirical? Is it a theoretical paper or is it an empirical paper? And then they'll look at the theories and the methods to make sure they're appropriate. Then there's an automatic system for duplication. This is probably the most important thing I'm going to talk to you about. So there are automatic systems for duplication now. So what that means is they will put it through a system to see if there's too much language that's the same. So if that number is too high, it's something like Turnitin or check it for your writing, and if the overlap is too much, then that is plagiarism. So that's important that you pay attention to that. So if you're looking here, this is 16%, which is acceptable. This is authenticate, and they send it through, and it will say where these are found. And this is actually for one of my papers. And you look, some of them are citations, so that's one of the issues. And this one on the cross-reference, that was from a published abstract with a conference. But they check it, and if that number is too high, then they'll tell you there's a problem. And if it's way too high, then that's a big red flag for them. Here's what happened with a journal that I was working as a publication chair. We were identifying articles for research to share with teachers. We found it published in the Journal of Elementary Education and in the Journal of Science Teacher Education. It was published in 2 journals. It was a 96, this is back before we had these programs, 96% of the words were exactly the same. So we sent a letter to those authors and said, here's the issue. And they said, oh, no, we gave them an opportunity to say, oh, we made a mistake. They said, oh, no, they're different articles. The two journals redacted their research, and it says on there, redacted for plagiarism. So anytime anybody pulls those articles up, it says redacted for plagiarism and those authors' names. And they got a letter from the publisher, and the publisher banned them for 5 years of publishing in any of their journals. So if it was Wiley Publication, it wasn't just that one journal, it was all the hundreds of journals they publish. So that publisher will not publish them for 5 years. So it's very serious. So make sure that you are double checking. And Ibu Seri, that they have, do you have a software system to check? Okay, excellent. Make sure you're using it and double checking. And it's okay to use quotes, just not too many quotes. You should have 1, maybe 2 quotes in an entire article. But if you have more than that, then you need to be paraphrasing. So the next one is the lead editor sends it to the associate editors, and then the associate editor sends it to reviewers. 3 reviews are submitted, and out of those 3, the editors can say it needs minor revisions, and that's an accept. It needs major revisions with an accept. They reject it and ask you to revise and resubmit, or they reject it and say we don't want to see it again. So those are the options. And then one thing to know, the revised manuscript should go back to the original reviewers. Sometimes it does not, and that's not good. You want it to go back to your original reviewers because you're responding to what they said. If you get a new reviewer, then that means you have a new person you're going to have to respond to. Okay, now questions. How much time do we have? We have 5 minutes for questions, and I'm happy to stay after to answer questions.
Oke, silakan Bapak Ibu. Ayu.
Would you rather me sit? You want me to stay? Huh. I'll stay. So questions.
Okay, thank you for your opportunities. My name is Aprilia Sari Rahayu. So the question is, how do language barriers affect non-native English speaking researchers changes of getting published in a reputable journals, and what resources can they use to overcome these challenges? Thank you.
That is a really excellent question, and I've worked with international scholars, and my best scholars were international scholars, by the way, because from my perspective, the international scholars, I don't know if you can understand this, are hungry for it. The domestic, not all of them, but my domestic students in the U.S. are not as hard of workers. So I love working with international students. They're very hardworking and very diligent. The issue is language barriers, and I have huge language barriers because I do not speak your language at all. So I appreciate. What I had my students at Ohio State do is when you get it done, when the article is done, use an editor to edit for the English. If you can do that, someone who speaks English well, who can edit for the English. Sometimes you have to pay an editor to do that, paying an editor to do that. Another thing, you can help each other. You can help each other. But for a big article, you want to make sure that you get the English down. Yes. Yes. That's a great question. Other questions?
Yes, thanks for the chance. I like to ask a question, maybe not dealing with the main topic, but dealing with AI, okay?
Mm-hmm.
AI. Because recently we face AI storm. So I think in this room, every single activity we use AI. Is it right?
Yeah.
To tell the truth, I'm the user, okay? So what do you think of this issue, Prof? Because, you know, when we use AI for academic writing, so we send to Reputable international journal.
Yes.
So is it allowed? The journal allow us to use the tools AI. Thank you.
It's not that I don't think they have any rules about AI. We use AI to help us develop creative titles. So we use it when we're doing a title for an article to get some ideas for better titles. You have to be careful. The thing you have to be careful for is the plagiarism part, for one. And number two, I can tell when I read it if it is it's nonsensical. Some parts of it become nonsensical. So when it is nonsensical, then I think, I don't think a human really wrote this. And then that's a red flag. Here's what you want to do. You want to avoid a reviewer or an editor stumping their toe. That's what my mentor, Ron Atwood, taught me. Stumping your toe means that they're reading and they get to something that doesn't make sense, or it's a red flag, and they say, this doesn't seem right. That's a stumping the toe. If they read through it without stopping and saying, hey, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. When they say, hey, wait a minute, that's a toe stump. That means it's a red flag, and the more times they have red flags, they're eventually going to say, okay, I'm done with this. They're going to have some, if they've got one or two, or even three or four. But if every sentence they're stumping their toe, they're going to say, this is not ready for me to review it. So the more times they stump their toe, the less favorably disposed they are towards your article. The more they have to stop and say, this doesn't make sense, something's weird here, then they're going to say, this doesn't seem right, and they're going to reject it and not even review it.
But as far as I know from my friend, okay, he actually used AI application to write scientific article and publish. Yeah, some the articles I published, but the journal allow him, okay,
Yes.
because he used declaration.
Yes. Yeah, well, and here's the other thing. It's like Google Translate. Google Translate helps you get started, but it's not finished after Google Translate. You have to go through it and you have to check it yourself. Same thing with AI. It can help, but it's not going to be a finished product until you go back over it and you smooth it out. It's okay to help you get started. Yeah. It's okay. That's okay. Here are the things you have to be careful for. It can be nonsensical. It can be over the top nonsensical. It doesn't make sense. It can be plagiarized. And then the other thing is it can be toe stumpers. So the nonsensical part would be a toe stumper. So it can have a lot of red flags unless you go back in and you have to make it your own. You have to go through and edit it and fix it. It's not a finished product when you use it. Yeah. You can use AI, you can use Google Translate to get started, but that doesn't make it a finished product.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do agree.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I don't know of any journals that say you can't use it. You have to design the research. You have to do the data analysis. You have to put the information into AI. AI can help you get started, but don't stop there. Other questions? Then I will say to you, terima kasih. Yes. Yes. Other questions? Not? Thank you. You were an amazing group. Terima kasih.
Ya, thank you, Professor Trandel. Oke, allow me to speak in bahasa. Oke, Bapak Ibu, kita setelah mendengarkan tadi paparan dari Ibu Katie, dan maaf saya menyimpulkan ini dalam bahasa Indonesia. Yang pertama tadi sudah dibahas ya, bagaimana kita bisa mencari jurnal yang bereputasi itu ya dengan mengklik web Skimago Journal. Jadi kalau kita klik nanti akan bisa kita pilih yang mana saja jurnal yang bisa kita pilih ya untuk artikel kita. Kemudian kita juga diminta tadi untuk membaca data ya, data yang ada di Skimago itu, kemudian data jurnal yang ada. Nah di sini nanti kita bisa menentukan ya apakah dia Q1 ya, apakah memang masih bereputasi ya, dan bagaimana kinerjanya dari tahun ke tahun. Ya, kemudian juga tadi ada high index, semakin tinggi high index semakin bagus. Ya, dan semakin tinggi high index semakin susah kita untuk diterima di jurnal tersebut. Ya. Kemudian tadi juga kita diminta ya untuk mempelajari isi jurnal, kemudian juga artikel yang kita akan kirim itu ya seperti apa, dan tadi disinggung juga alasan-alasan mengapa ditolak. Ya, ada banyak alasan. Ya, tapi sebagian besar kita mungkin alasan ditolak itu adalah kendala bahasa. Ya, yang tadi tidak disinggung oleh Prof. Trandel ya tentang kendala bahasa. Ya. Kemudian ada tentang identity dan lain-lain. Oke, thank you so much ya Professor Trandel ya for your invaluable guidance ya in for us ya to find ya good journals and also how to send articles to journals, and also for having answered questions from the audience. And thank you everyone for participating and have a wonderful day, and best of luck with your future publications. Okay, thank you.
I'm really proud of you for working on that. It's excellent. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you
Okay, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nah, back
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
MC.
Thank you for Bapak Hariswan as the moderator. And again, kita sama-sama mengucapkan terima kasih. We say again, terima kasih. Thank you, Prof. Ketty, for your material. So hopefully we can have a good publication for doctoral program and also magister program here. And then before we stop our agenda, would you like to please stand up, and also for our dean and also coordinator of doctoral education, and also Ibu Sari Silviani for magister coordinator to stand up, and we are going to give certificate for Prof. Ketty. Ya, Pak Dekan yang ngasih. Ya, untuk Pak Dekan. Di sini boleh. Oke, untuk mendampingi Ibu Sari Silviani dan also Pak Prof. Eko. Apa enggak mau pilih? Oke, thank you Prof. Ketty. Terima kasih. Baiklah, terima kasih kepada Pak Dekan, Pak Prof. Eko dan juga Ibu Sari Silviani, dan juga kepada you may please be seated, dan juga kepada mahasiswa-mahasiswi untuk program studi S3 Pendidikan dan juga S2 di Sriwijaya University. Demikian akhir dari kegiatan stadium jenderal kita yang berjudul publikasi di jurnal-jurnal berreputasi. Terima kasih atas partisipasinya. Semoga kita semua sukses untuk menerbitkan artikel kita di jurnal. Saya selaku MC pada hari ini undur diri. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.